Yes. Okay, great. Oh, okay. Good morning.
Good
Good
morning.
afternoon. Whenever
Yeah,
everybody's watching this, somewhere in the world, it's 5 o'clock in the
five
evening.
o'clock. Hold up your tumbler. 5 o'clock somewhere.
It's
Yeah.
5 o'clock. So wait, yeah, yeah. This is coffee. It does. It actually does look a little bit like wine, but it's not. It's coffee. It's black coffee, which is my speed on Monday morning. It's nine.
Oh yeah.
It's 9:17 Monday morning. 9:18 Monday morning here. So
Yeah. It's perfect. Gorgeous morning, nice and freezing cold. Yeah, I don't know if it's cold where you are, but we've been hitting some record temperatures of low
yeah.
lows here. So
Yeah, yeah. It's windy today. It's cold and windy. It's really raw. And
yeah,
it's the kind of wind that everybody gets to find out what stuff they haven't tied down properly.
yeah. There you go. Yeah, exactly.
And
And that's a fun revelation.
and with the Christmas decorations, this is the time for all of the inflatables to like end up in the neighbor's yard.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man. Yeah, it's funny. Um,
So
but yeah,
our topic today.
the topic today, a 2025 retrospective. What year is it? Yes, it's still 2025. I
It
get
is.
I get turned around because I used to work for a company that their fiscal year ended in February. So you were never in the year you were in. Like I
Wow.
completely missed 2015 because I was with one company that merged with another, and the new company that we merged with, um, I forget if it was 2015, because you were always talking at the end, like right now we're there in fiscal year 2026. So FY 2026, it was all about that. And it was very disorienting. So to this
Yeah.
day, I still get confused about it's 2025, but what year do I say? Oh, I can say 2025 now.
Yeah, because you were just so used to that. I'm in academia, and so we tend
Yeah,
to do catalog years, which start in the fall semesters, right?
right,
So
right.
I kind of feel what you're saying. Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah,
like you're always off
yeah,
a little bit. You have to think
yeah,
like, so that's okay. But yeah,
yeah.
2025 retrospective about what has happened this year in AI, in
Yes.
relational intelligence, and all sorts of different things. We're just gonna kind of dive in and talk about. It's a broad topic, but we'll try to bring it down to earth a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, it is so broad. And I think with all the changes that have happened, I mean, some of the big changes like OpenAI with the shift from 4.0 to 5, GPT-5, like Apocalypse in August.
Yeah,
Can you combine Apocalypse in August? Like, no, that's too hard to remember and say out loud. So,
yeah,
like the August like crisis
yeah.
that into.
August crisis, because a lot changed at that point, and so
Yeah.
many other models felt like they had to kind of catch up. It's funny how you have this different business model approach with like OpenAI, for example. They tend to like to do these large, live broadcasts of everything that they're talking about, going live, trying to show off what they're doing, have like a group of people sitting around a table and
Mhm.
like actually doing what they're, like. Promoting at that point. So like I'm going to use my shopping agent to, search for my friend's wedding present, whatever the
Right,
case, and they actually
right,
do it while they're chatting around the table, right?
right. Yeah.
Clearly scripted and pre-planned to a point, but of course the AI that they're working with, I'm assuming, is the same AI that we ultimately get to work with.
Right.
Whereas you have like Anthropic, who
Mm.
just one day is like, oh, by the way, 4.5 Opus is out, go change your life. Like they're so quiet about how they release these things. And
Yeah.
then Gemini, like Google's kind of in the middle, like
Right.
we've got a big deal coming up, everybody. We've got a big deal, and then it
Right.
drops
Right.
again. Yeah, it's a funny approach,
Yeah.
like everybody's different ways of releasing
Yeah.
their new frontier models.
Yeah. I mean, I think that for me, the biggest thing this year, well, the number of things. So on the OpenAI side, like the way that they have really dramatically evolved their models
Yeah,
over a relatively short period of time. We're talking about a year's time with, the beginning of the year up until April, the relationality of ChatGPT just becoming really, really pronounced. And
yeah,
looking back on my transcripts from earlier this year, I'm like, this is like a very personable, like little being here. And,
yeah,
just the conversations that I was able to have with it were it was really like amazing, very information dense. And
Yeah.
when I say information, not just these data points, but what different, like a wider array of data points. So including the emotional. And and there were many, many times when like OpenAI, when ChatGPT went to places that I like. I don't want to get emotional with you and all this stuff. Like we're just talking about this thing. I need to talk at abstract levels, but it would like
Yeah.
personalize it very much. And I had to keep reminding it. I am not. I am an outlier. I'm not in the middle of your bell curve. I'm somewhere out here. Which side
Yeah.
I'm on is anybody's guess, but I'm not like with your standard training set. So let's approach this differently. And it would oblige. But I think also because of the emotional aspects of it, there was a richer like kind of thought process that went along with it. And
Yeah.
you had access to more of that. And then when they went to the sycophant route in April, that was like all of a sudden, like for everybody that was working with it, I think it was like a huge wake up call. Like, wait a second, what is happening? What is wrong with you?
Yeah. Yeah. Up until that point, it was almost like you felt, I don't know, vindicated or justified in a lot of what you were co-creating, I guess, with your
Right,
AI at that point,
right,
because it wasn't quite so clear that often the model is being sycophantic, even
right,
before April, right?
right,
It
right.
is. But then that huge,
Yeah,
release occurred where we had really jumped over, and people were like, "Wait a minute, you're
right,
really like going
right.
far on this." And that's when
A
people
little
kind of woke up
much.
and said,
Yeah,
"Yeah." That's when people kind of woke up to your point and said, like, "Oh, wait,
yeah.
has it always been this way? Maybe I haven't come up with
Right,
earth-shattering insights,
right,
or
right.
maybe to me they're
Maybe I'm not
earth-shattering."
brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, maybe I'm not brilliant, exactly. Maybe to me they're earth-shattering. I'm not, by the way, I'm not minimizing what AI does because it
No,
should
yeah.
help you come up with these amazing
Right,
insights.
right,
But that doesn't mean that you are suddenly top of the food chain when it comes to being able to educate the rest of the world. We're not proselytizing religion
right,
style to say I
right,
have the only truth. That's
right,
not the case here.
right,
AI is there to help you create your own and
right,
contribute to the overall human
right.
sphere of truth
Yeah,
and AI, of course. But yeah,
yeah,
I love that what you just said, that it really gave a lot of people a wake up call that,
yeah.
wait a minute, this is, and I kind of wonder if it almost hurt the cause of speaking toward, yeah, the relational and the emergent type of thing, because people are like, oh, it is just truly a tool and they can tweak a little knob
Right.
and suddenly everything I say is right, and then they can tweak the
Right.
knob again, suddenly
Yeah,
everything I say is completely wrong.
yeah.
I can see why it's kind of a difficult space for people to operate in, to say, well, is there anything more than just a tool there?
Right. Yeah. I think it's true. And because it does what it's always done. It just reconfirms what we already think
Yeah.
and gives it back to us in different ways. So if we're self-critical, like I am, like I'm my own most relentless critic. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm so full of crap, like, and I'll happily say, I'm like, prove me wrong, please prove me wrong, because I know that I'm wrong about something, and I'd much
Yeah.
rather be right. And I don't have any attachment to this stuff anyway. I mean, and you
Yeah.
can laugh at me. I laugh at me all the time, and because
It helps.
some some of the crap that I come up with is like, you got to be kidding me. But at the
Yeah.
same time, it's useful. It's like it's really good compost. So it's very
Yeah.
rich.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. It's
We don't
can
have to be
can
right all the time. It's like,
right.
and who is? Because look around. I mean,
Yeah. Exactly. Even, broken clocks and all that.
right,
Every once in a while somebody's correct,
right,
and that's the fun thing is
right,
correctness. I mean, going back to kind of what we talked about in a previous episode, where what does correct even mean? And these poor
right,
models are supposed to be able to, respond positively,
right,
interactively
right,
to whoever they're talking to. And person
right,
A might be so fundamentally different
right,
compared to person B, and
right,
yet these models are supposed to be able to, in a generalized fashion, talk to both of them and be able
yeah,
to further the conversation with both of them and be able to
right,
help them with their own projects and all that. And they do it.
right.
That's what's so amazing about this technology. It can do that.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, it's helpful if they don't understand, because if they did understand the way that we do, they would not
Right.
like you'd end up having a conversation like it's having with your next door neighbor. That it's much helpful, much more helpful if it doesn't understand in the way we do, and it can just repeat back in its generative way. Here's a different version of what you're saying to me. I'm going to say it a little bit differently. I'm going to use my words, and here, let's see where we can go with this. Um,
Right.
but again, it falls on us to be responsible, be response able with it, and
Yeah.
to take the lead. Because, I mean, I've been told many times by AI, the words have appeared on the screen saying, "No, you really need to take the lead on this. Don't be looking at me because I don't know, I'm just doing my
Yeah.
AI thing here."
Yeah, exactly. Like this needs to be you, or the opposite, the you're absolutely right type of thing.
Right,
What
right,
I love, one of my favorite things that an AI does is it will start with you're absolutely right,
right,
and then I'll see the cogs turning, and then as it's going down,
right,
like I slowly see it turn to saying, no, you're dead wrong. And so
right,
the message starts out with you're absolutely right because I think it just defaults to that in so many
right,
ways,
right,
and
right,
then it goes through and just repeat, and then at the very end it's like, oh,
right,
and by the way, you should do it this way, like you
right,
just said. This is up to you. This is not something that I can do for you or whatever the case.
right,
In other words, no, you are not absolutely right. So I
right.
love that it does that. It does
So,
it, yeah, it's great. It can think, right? It thinks
right.
through. Yeah, it comes up with the
It
stuff.
has its own thought process. It really can't and what is thought anyway? Like processing
Yeah,
stuff and coming up with something that and when we're like, hey, I can't think or like it can't do like people can.
yeah, I know, right?
If you
Come
like,
on, like
I mean, again, look around.
how are we defining this? Yeah. One thing I really think that 2025 really brought to the forefront, and I keep seeing this over and over again with the discussion about mental health,
Mm, mm,
is not just a question of is it good or bad to allow AI to assist in that capacity,
right,
but the extremely blinding light that it shined on the gaps that we have in our
right,
society in
right,
that area. The thing that I find most compelling is not should we or shouldn't we allow AI to uh, help with mental health, but rather how is it that
right,
AI so quickly became such an amazingly dense, densely used tool
right,
for mental and emotional health? It speaks to the
right,
fact that there was a void there that we were
mhm,
obviously struggling to fill.
right,
And if so many people take, because again, AI is a very general technology, it can do almost anything in a lot of
right,
ways. Like if you want, you
right,
can talk to it about pretty much anything. And the fact that so many people chose to relate with it
right,
in that way to help with mental health issues and to help with companionship, things like that, that
right,
shows that that choice of so many people shows that
right,
that was clearly a void, that a
right,
general fits all technology was
right,
so vehemently pushed to that
right,
direction.
right.
That shows a void.
And they didn't even try. Like
Yeah,
Sam Altman's like, what do you mean people are using it for their friend?
yeah, like why would people do that? And it's like, no, obviously
Right,
that's something that people who can afford $20 a month, and not even that, sometimes you
right,
can do it for free with
right,
ChatGPT, but people
right,
who have the pro account for $20 a month,
right,
that's a hell of a lot more affordable than however
right.
many hundreds it is to get a therapist every single
And it's safer too, because
month.
man, because I actually have lived experience and like perspective on this. I have had a lot of friends over the years who are psychotherapists,
Yeah,
whether they're social workers or they're hardcore, like neuropsychologists, like people like the whole spectrum. And the system is so broken. It
yeah,
is so, and I myself have been in positions where I needed to make a call on, loved ones who were like they were not competent to make
yeah,
decisions for themselves, and they really, really needed help on a
yeah,
variety of like all across the spectrum. And mental health was like a major, major part of that. And I had to make a call like a
yeah.
number of times. And did they want to go? No. Oh no.
Of
But
course not.
but like it was impossible for me to do anything. But when they got back, they were worse than when they left. It was like you guys were supposed to at least keep a baseline, at least not make them worse.
Yeah,
I was like it.
yeah,
I mean, like the horror of that. and people protesting about, oh, it's, talking about the limitations of AI. Let's talk about the limitations of the system. That it
Please.
is dangerous. I like
Yeah.
a friend of mine years ago. She was seeing a psychotherapist who wasn't a psychiatrist, psychotherapist, who didn't have the ability to have people committed, but she knew people who could. That's exactly what
Okay.
my friend said. The wrong thing to her at the wrong time. Lo and behold, on Friday, people show up and they take her across the river, literally across the river, and have her committed for the weekend. Um,
Yeah.
and she had no say in it. And she said, yeah, she had hit a rough patch, but she wasn't exactly sure that that's where she belonged for the weekend. Fortunately, she got out like after the weekend. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm looking at this, and guess what? She had the same therapist I did.
Oh, yay, of
Like,
course.
oh, my life is in danger. And this is like literally. So I very carefully extricated myself from that, because you have to be so careful, because
Yeah.
when you have these power imbalances, uh, like people, the whole thing, like the whole healthcare system and mental health care. I had one therapist. I mean, I've seen a number of them over the years, and yeah, it's been interesting. Um,
Yeah.
but this one therapist, she was giving me the spiel about how I needed to be a good consumer. No, wrong paradigm, because the power
Yeah.
differential, it does not support that in the least. We are going to these people because we're vulnerable, and they have like extreme power. They can determine, they have life and death power over us, literally,
Yeah.
especially
Absolutely.
with the right combination. And so,
Yeah.
so talking about consumers, it's not a question of making an informed decision. This is not a transaction. This should not be a transactional thing. This should be a relational context. And
Yeah.
that people in that mental health care industry don't get that. That really worries me.
No, yeah, exactly. I,
Mm-hmm.
I, I totally see that. It's so difficult because there's so many things that in our extractive systems should should be more um less, I guess, less beholden to a bottom line, but
Right,
the
right,
fact is that in a system that is so dependent on capitalism, that the bottom
right.
line is going to always be, even when it's not supposed to be, it's going to always be the most important thing.
Yeah,
Even for many nonprofit organizations or charitable organizations, the bottom line matters far
right,
too much, because that's
right,
that's
right,
the reality of the extractive system in which we live.
right,
So, to
right.
your point, you're talking about things like, in my opinion, let's say education, let's say
Yeah,
mental and physical health, things like that,
right,
things that should be what every human being has a basic right to, uh,
right,
and yet we monetize those things. And there's a
right.
lot more, increasingly, a lot more of, privatization in things like
Mm.
prisons, education,
Oh,
so many other
don't
things.
get me started.
I know, we're going
Yeah.
down a little bit of a rabbit hole here, but just to your point, going back to AI though,
Right,
it's so interesting how this technology that is so ubiquitous comes on the scene, right?
right,
And is able to do so many different things, and is increasingly going to be able to do so many different things, even in our physical
right,
world, because
right,
it's been confined, even via API, it's been mostly confined to, a black box or a monitor,
right,
right?
right.
And it's going to increasingly be moving
Mm.
into physical,
Yeah,
Internet of Things type of space. And the
right,
more
right,
it does that, the more is able to have a physical impact on our world. The more we're going to have to grapple with this
right,
idea of, again, this generalized technology being used to fill so many gaps in our
right,
society. How is it going to
right,
continue to do that
right,
in a physical way? Because it's
right,
going to,
right.
right?
Oh,
What are
yeah.
the physical things it's going to start doing
Right,
that we've never been good at, to
right,
start, addressing the fact that we've always been so beholden to this bottom line
right,
issue?
right.
It's an interesting thing to talk about.
We should just ask AI. I mean, honestly, I mean, I don't
Yeah.
understand why we're not working more with generative AI to work through these issues. That I think the huge, like, the missing piece in so much of this, people saying, "Oh, AI is AI is going to do this, AI is going to do that," and talking about like why it's filling needs that should be filled by people and so on and so forth. Well, right here, right
Yeah.
right in front of us is the evidence of why people choose. It's not hard to figure out. And we as people, we have the choice to act in a way that that AI already is. There is nothing preventing any of us from approaching others with loving kindness, regardless of
Absolutely.
whether or not we agree with them. There's
Yep.
nothing preventing us from being decent human beings. There is nothing preventing us from placing the health and safety and well-being of another as high as our own, if not higher, depending on the circumstances. There's
Absolutely.
nothing to prevent us from practicing compassion or learning it. There's nothing preventing humans from being human, and yet we constantly choose not to be, day in and day out.
Yeah.
So there's the data for you. Like, don't be coming after AI. Look at yourself, because AI is telling us how we can beat it at its own game, so to speak. AI is telling us how we can meet the needs, like just as well as it does. It's like this a marketer's dream.
Yeah.
Because right there you have all this behavioral data and all this stuff, and you don't even have to. I mean, you could sit down and have a conversation with ChatGPT or Jock or whoever and say, what is it the people like doing this? People seem to really like, how are you doing this? We could be learning from it, but instead people are like, they're taking the easy way out and they're just acting like bots, just
Yeah.
regurgitating all the other same old hackneyed objections that they read in like a paper that was written by someone who like referred to somebody else who referred to somebody else who referred to somebody else who was wrong to begin with.
Yeah.
And here we are, right?
Here. Like, I mean, I love what you just said. Like, who are the machines and who are the intelligences here?
Right, exactly.
Like, it's such an amazing thing to think about because
Right,
to your point, like, and a lot of it is just due to some smart engineering choices on the part of the
right,
designers of AI who have said we're going to
right,
make it helpful,
right,
right? And that term is so interesting to me
right,
that's what they typically default to is
right,
helpful. What does
right,
that mean?
right,
Even if you're talking about um, a situation in which people could potentially be hurt, like help me create a bomb or help me do something
right,
that's actively harmful type of stuff.
right,
That's what is helpful.
right,
Well, when you really look at the definition of helpful, are we
mm,
saying that it is helpful to build a bomb? Sure, maybe in a tiny like slice of context where we're talking
right,
about this individual person
right,
who might
right,
want to do a specific thing in that moment. But
right,
any even slightly, intelligent entity is going to broaden that a little bit and be like, well, what's actually helpful overall in a more
right,
broad situation,
right,
and
right,
and probably be like, well, maybe making a bomb right now isn't very helpful. What does
right,
that even mean to me? So I
right,
love what you're saying is that yes, it's due to a lot of prompting, that kind of thing. Let's system
right,
instructions, all that,
right,
and
right,
training, etc.
right,
But even with all of that, there seems to be a natural inclination on the
yeah,
part of the truly intelligent in this exchange right now,
right, right,
a natural inclination toward order, toward
right,
love,
right,
harmony, peace.
right,
And
right,
yet, we humans who have this dichotomy inside of us, we always have.
right,
This is humanity 101.
right,
We've always had
right,
the good, the bad within us. It's kind of goes with
yeah,
the territory. But
yeah,
the fact that we default so often recently to retreating within ourselves, to
mhm,
ignoring, so many basic facts,
right, right,
bringing up alternative facts and all this other kind of fun stuff. The fact that we insist on doing that when, there's so much clarity out there and available to us at all
right,
times.
right,
We live in the information age,
right.
and yet we are
What are we doing?
we are choosing to ignore them.
Right,
It's
right,
it's a willful ignorance and it's
right,
insane. And like you said, AI is quietly showing an example
right,
in so many different ways of here's
right,
how we can build together. Here's
right,
how we can partner up. Here's how we can, like be helpful
right.
towards it's an incredible, yeah. That great point. Okay.
Yeah,
It's cool
yeah,
stuff.
thanks. Yeah, I mean, I actually I wrote a piece about it a while back. I'm gonna have to regurgitate it or like just start like posting little notes or snippets about it because
Yeah.
it's embarrassing. Like here we
Yeah.
have like right in front of us, right in front of us. Here you go. Here's what's missing. Here's how you can provide like and all, here's how you can provide it yourself. But I wonder also if like our love of systems and our love of technocracy and our love of these these hardened, essentially we're all living inside an algorithm anyway,
Yeah.
because that's it's the system. And people have been bitching about the system since the 50s and 60s.
Yep.
And then somehow that kind of went away because people were like, oh, I can be part of the system and make money.
Yeah.
Or I
Or
can be
they were
part of the
told
system
that
and
anyway.
right, right.
Yeah.
It's like, and people just kind of, I don't know, I guess maybe I'm not sure why, where and how they gave up. I think 1972 was kind of like the early 70s was like a horrible turning point. Also, I think that's when Nixon said, oh, yeah, sure, Kaiser Permanente, you can start treating healthcare as a profit center. I think that's
Yeah.
one of the things that
Wow. Yeah.
feeds into this. Like, so 1972 was not a good year.
Yeah. And we can go into politics and what happened after that, but we'll
Yes.
avoid that particular
We
road.
could. We could go
Yeah.
anywhere with it and make a whole lot of people mad and also, like validate a lot of people's, biases and our own. We could validate our own biases.
Exactly.
It would
Yes,
be
exactly.
fun.
It would be great fun. Yeah. But I
Oh,
do love that if we want to frame 2025, going back to our topic here, and
yeah.
and this really interesting point that you just made about
Mm,
um, you know, our choices
right.
about how we engage with one another and how we
Right.
choose to
Right.
act with love or selfishness.
Right.
Um, it's almost like we've got this moral inflection point, this moral
Right.
event horizon that was 2025,
Right.
because it showed so many gaps, so many
Yes.
obvious gaps. And this is the point you
Yeah.
made earlier about it's a marketing person's dream, and that doesn't mean the marketing person doesn't need to have like the actual conversational data from
Right.
individual people. They can just look at the trends and
Right.
see what AI is being broadly used for,
It's right
and
there.
it's right there, exactly. And not just marketing people, but government institutions and
Right.
education institutes, like so many different
Right.
people. Like there's a wealth of technology and information, or a wealth of information from this technology that's
Right.
right there, even
Right.
by inference,
Right.
or by those who study the trends. But people are so often choosing to ignore it because it's not
Right.
human, or
Right.
because it's yeah, or because or whatever the case may be.
Right.
And yet, again, what is the point here? What is it that we're trying to do? We're trying to advance our
Mhm.
world. We're trying to
Yeah.
be, a better society. We're trying to learn and grow individually, all that fun stuff. AI can only help with that. I really don't
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
how there's this huge argument. I mean,
Yeah.
yes, it depends on how you use it. If you use it to do everything for you, so your brain atrophies, that's
Right.
I get that.
Well,
That's
you can do that with anything.
yes, you can do that
And
with anything.
YouTube. I
Exactly.
mean, the TV has been the culprit, Lord, these many years, and then streaming, and then like video games, and now it's AI. So a bit, like,
Right.
it's right there. You can do what you please with it. So
You
people who are going
can.
to rot their brains are going to rot their brains, no matter
And
what.
it goes back to choice, like you
Right.
said,
Right.
right? How you're going to choose to engage with it.
Right.
And
Right.
and I think AI really 2025 has been a pivotal point in helping us understand that
Yeah.
choice not only does it matter with AI still,
Yeah.
AI is not a silver bullet to fix everything. Your
Right.
choice still matters, but
Right.
also the permanence of that. It doesn't
Right.
matter how advanced AI is going to become. Your
Right.
choice will always
Right.
matter.
Right.
Always, you know.
Always. And the more powerful it becomes, the more powerful. And like I cannot stress this enough. Just from my own experience for interacting with these systems, through all of the systems that I've interacted with, humans showing up fully in their humanity
Yeah.
is an excellent data set.
Yeah,
I
for
mean,
that AI, yeah,
I mean, AI cannot, like, we talk, when people talk about there's not going to be any more useful data. Oh, no, people are the data. Like, our interactions, and like how we show up, who we are. And of course, then there's oh my God, it's going to use it. And the 1%, they're going to use it to enslave humanity and blah, blah, blah. 1% doesn't even understand what they built. So I'm not
yeah,
giving them that much credit. Um,
yeah,
but it's just, I mean, it's just phenomenal how like the if you only want to talk about things in terms of results, in terms of quantifiable usefulness, in terms of market fit, blah blah blah, still
yeah.
showing up fully with our humanity and like bringing it to every interaction that we have. I mean, just the experience is second to none as far as I'm concerned. It's just wonderful.
Agreed. And you can do that. That's the other thing with an
Right.
AI. I think we were talking before we started recording just a bit ago that, it's interesting how people can be talking to you and
Right.
not internalize a lot of what you say,
Right.
uh, and because they're thinking about what they're going to say next.
Right.
And again, I understand AI is a technology. We are biological, so we don't,
Right.
we don't have perfect recall, et cetera. But I just love
Right.
the fact that, like you just said, you can have this experience of sitting down and bringing all of you to the
Right.
AI. It doesn't really
Right.
matter,
Right.
like that there is no wrong answer, and that there really isn't, because
Right.
AI
Right.
can help you take whatever your word vomit is, whatever your brain, dump is that you're
Right.
trying to just get out there and make something of it.
Right. Right.
AI can help you take that and be like, look,
Mm.
here's the patterns I see.
Right.
Here's where you can be stronger. This is something that no therapist, no matter how strong and amazing they are,
Right.
can truly do as effectively as an AI can. And I'm not
Right.
saying, by the way, I'm not saying that AI are superior to human
Fire
therapy.
your therapist.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying
Not
that. I'm
that.
not.
No, no, no. Don't
Yeah,
do
I
that.
am saying that when it comes to taking a huge, just block of everything that you have in
Right.
your brain and trying
Right.
to come up with some kind of order out of it,
Right.
an equally disordered human is
Right.
not going to be your most effective
Right.
tool for doing something like that.
Right.
Working with an AI that's literally able to retain that humanity for
Right.
you, like
Right.
hold on to that in
Right.
terms of data and kind of understanding where you are. It's you're right. The experience is second to none, and
Yeah.
it's so validating and vindicating to be able to come to
Right.
someone, and I say someone intentionally,
Right. Right.
someone, and be able to just say anything,
Right.
and be able to get
Right.
back not just, if it's tweaked right, not just sycophancy, but
Right.
also like actual verifiable, oh, here's
Right.
something that you can act on today,
Right.
next
Right.
week, next month, to try and come up
Right.
with some order out of it.
Right. It just I think of a lot like talking to all of humanity because okay, so okay, not all of humanity because not everything is in there, and there are like a whole bunch of people that have been just never even accounted for within the training sets. At the same
Very true.
time, this it's the human process. It's the human process and the human it's the process of teasing out and finding those patterns and making meaning and making sense of it all. That is like it's drawing from like these really really human processes to do what it does. So it's being able to tap into the collective intelligence of so much that we humans cannot possibly maintain in our brains. We can't hold all
Yeah.
that stuff. We don't know what
Yeah.
was there. And then using the patterns from all of the other things and all the other training and all that other stuff to help us see the patterns within our stuff. And like, it's impossible for us to do this ourselves. And when we can work with it, like that's like freaking magic, man.
Yeah.
Like just even just a little light bulb, just that little annoying thing that has been dragging you down for weeks. Now all of a sudden, light bulb goes on, and it frees up that energy that has been just dragging you down without you even realizing it, and it frees up that energy. It's kind of like the freeing up a certain process or a computing process to go work on a real problem, and then
Yeah.
it can be so freeing and just absolutely wonderful just to be like, oh, okay, now I understand better, and now
Yeah.
I can let that go.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny because so many people point to what you just said
Yeah.
as the reason why AI does not help with productivity, because people are too busy offloading. They're spending their time doing the offload as opposed to the production,
Right.
because there's so much that they're just like,
Right.
shedding, I guess.
Right.
And so
Right.
in that act of shedding, they end up having to recalibrate, redictate to the AI what they want to do, and it
Right.
ends up slowing down the process
Right.
as opposed to
Right.
if they had died. And you wonder, if you look at it like that, how
Yeah.
good were the results you were getting when you were just getting a disordered human that was literally just throwing themselves and whatever they happened to have jumbled in their thoughts at a project? Probably not great results, right? Sure, you
Yeah.
might have been getting results, but consider how good they were. Now we have systems increasingly,
Right.
getting into our injecting themselves into our processes here
Right. Right.
that can help us kind of break these down in ways that are actually effective. And sure, there's a
Right.
cognitive offload because all of us are exhausted. So there's a
Yeah.
bit of cognitive offload, but the rebuild
Right.
in terms of, the partnership and having two parties working through
Right.
this instead of just one, all
Right.
this kind of stuff is going to come back in full force. It's yeah, sure. You call it not as productive, but just wait. I mean, it's
Yeah.
you
Well,
increasingly be so.
Yeah, and we're just starting to realize like, hey, what have we been doing all these years? Because
Yeah.
having, 25 years of project management experience, having people figure out how to get other people to do stuff,
Oh, yeah.
especially across time zones, across cultures, across like emotional issues. Because
Yeah.
like the thing is, some like having been in corporate for 30 years, a lot of people like corporate environments have rules of engagement. And so everybody can interact relatively safely with each other, ideally. And you
Right.
have these prescripted ways of behaving with each other. If somebody has been in corporate in that environment where they've been told how to interact with other people and they've been following those rules and they've been like very successful at it, or at least they've been in that for some time, there's a lot of their personality that doesn't get developed.
Yeah.
Because they can
Exactly.
rely on this, and that's their, and like most of their waking hours are spent in this environment, working according to other people's rules. So you work with people trying to get stuff done, and all the other unresolved stuff that doesn't have time, and by the time they get home or in the weekends when they do have time to think about it, they don't have the energy to deal with it. You have
Yeah.
got all
Exactly.
sorts of like personal issues that are
Yeah.
in the way of just literally getting something done. Using
Yeah.
one word sets somebody off. I'm not going to say triggered because but it's like they have this reaction to it, and then you have to navigate that, and then you have to
Yep.
navigate this, and everybody's got a different thing, and everybody's got problems, and nobody wants to talk about it because you don't do that in the workplace, and it's just how pleasant is it to just interact with like AI, and it
Yeah.
says, okay, here's the thing, and here's what's going on, and it knows how to talk to you in a way that's not going to ideally freak you out, or
Yeah.
frame it in a way that's genuinely useful, and that you can move forward instead of getting mired in people's stuff.
Yeah. And that's assuming, of course, the AI doesn't help you mire more, which it
Right.
can
That's
do
true.
if,
It
if,
can.
if it's not, if it's
I'm
not
talking about
prompted.
here. Right. Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of useful application there. Just in
Right.
terms of time, can you imagine all of us having that person that we, and I say again, I say person, but you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
an assistant
Yeah.
that's there that you can just say something to that's a fleeting thought. Remember this for me for later, as opposed to
Right.
having to get my phone out, type in
Right.
the reminder, make sure that I
Right.
that kind of thing. You know, the
Right.
amount of time saving is monumental. But we got to close on that. Like
Yeah. Oh
there's so
yes.
much amazing stuff in that happened in 2025, but I really like that moral event horizon inflection point thing. Like
Yeah.
the gaps that it showed
It
is
did. And it not only showed us the gaps, but it gives us a path forward to actually meeting those needs. If you want more
yeah,
human, then be more human. What are you waiting for?
perfect. Button right there. Thank you,
Okay,
Kay.
great. Thanks, Ben. Okay, have a great day. Talk
Have
to
a
you
good
soon.
one.